Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live Recruiting Show. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, Senior Recruiting Editor for Auburn Live on 3. You know it. Today is Wednesday, May the 21st, 2025 for you. It is Tuesday evening, May the 20th, 2025 for us. Keep that in mind moving forward with any today's, tomorrow's, or yesterday's. Have a fantastic, loaded recruiting show for you tonight. Lots to talk about. Big weekend, big visits being set, big visits being taken, big incognito visit being taken. We're going to get to all of that. We're going to get to some questions from the corner. And here to do it with me, as they always are, 100% of the time when their face is on the screen, they're here. Mr. Pinkston and Sir Alan Head. How about you, boys?
How about you?
Hey, how about you?
How about you? Listen, man, that pause put me in suspense there. It's like, is he going to say my name? Or is he going to call me J-Head? What's going to happen tonight?
Cliffhanger, big dog. Start the show with a climax.
You know what, Jeffrey's he's cleaned that up, Alan. He's cleaned it up pretty good.
He has. You know what? I think our jar got to like $22.
31.
There's a 31?
31.
And it hasn't moved in a while, man. I'm going to be
Matter
honest.
of fact, it's been 31. I think somebody called in on the show. It's been 31 for it's been 31. Wow, since March.
Okay. Look at that.
It's been like 100 days since the last accident.
Wow.
Yep, since March. April the 1st, it was 31. And here we are almost 7 weeks later. We're still at 31. So we're doing great.
Hey, only 1 year into a reveal of an actual name, and we're getting there, baby. Don't tell me progress doesn't happen.
Get some. All right, we want to get straight to it. What we're going to do is we're going to take 5 questions, some really good questions from the corner, because we've got a lot to talk about. We don't want to answer somebody's question, make it irrelevant by the end of the show when we talk to it. So we're going to get to the questions first, and then we'll talk about what we think is pertinent and relevant in this week's recruiting. First, before we get started, you know I'm rocking that Q-zip tonight. It's called Rowback's back in the house, big dog. If you're not familiar with the Rowback, there's only one way to describe it. Best fit, best feel, one way, 2 times. For those who aren't familiar with the Rowback, they are completely changing the game with their incredibly comfortable activewear. Has released so many items within their new licensed game day collection, and it's our favorite. It's mine for sure. Novel polo designs and clean hoodie and Q-zip designs for some of your favorite schools, including Auburn. It's worth checking out, and it's fantastic to pair with these level custom designs with this quality of activewear. I'm sorry, pairing these level of custom designs. Anyways, they got shorts, they've got pants. They're perfect. I love them. They're both super comfortable. Have an elastic waistband for you big boys. How big of a boy are you? And great fabric that is made to have the appearance of a nice short look, but the comfort of a day on the move. Let's see. It's been leading the NIL charge. They've signed a lot of college kids, football stars, past and present. And it's becoming the go-to brand for college athletes across the country. Big time promo, as always, with Auburn Live listeners, Auburn Live members. Use the promo code AUBURN20, that's AUBURN 20, on Rowback.com for a generous 20% off for all new customers. Spelled RHOBACK, 20% off all performance polos, shorts, and more with the promo code AUBURN20. Go give it a chance, man. If you feel like comfortable stuff, and it's pretty reasonable, like, I mean, you know, it's not TJ Maxx. You know what I mean?
No.
You're not going to go get the $3 rack sale at Ross. But you get what you pay for. And, man, it's good. And if you're a new customer, get that 20% off. All right. Appreciate Rowback sponsoring the show. Let's get right to the questions, Zach. Let's get right to the Auburn Live on 3 member questions. The first question coming out, high school football scout. What are the chances of Auburn signing both Trenton Henderson and Tank Jones? Both of these guys, 5 stars on one side or another. 5-star edges. Both were in town this past weekend on official visits. The chances of Auburn signing both.
This is my personal opinion. After asking around about, you know, kind of what this person thought was possible. And I would put it at less than 40% of that happening.
I was going to say 25.
Yeah, I mean, I think 25 would be fair. Maybe I'm being a little bit generous, but I think you're looking at 2 elite guys, and even though Tank has the ability to play both sides, I just think it's going to be incredibly tough to get both of those in the same class, given the price point, given the sales pitch of playing time. I think those guys are both alphas, and I don't know that both want to necessarily be in the same class. Now, maybe I'm wrong.
Sure.
Maybe I'm completely wrong in reading that incorrectly. So I'll stand by for what Cole has to say. I think he may be more dialed in here than myself, but that's just my personal opinion.
Well, I think there are two factors that for both of them, or one for each, that would be maybe bigger than them being in the same class, I guess. For Trent Henderson, it's Rock Bellantoni.
Yeah.
Right? That's a huge pull, I think. I mean, we learned even more about that. He was one of the first coaches to reach out to Trent Henderson when he was the DC at Florida Atlantic. You pair that with a school that Trent Henderson already likes in Auburn, right? Tank Jones, there's a lot to like there with what I've heard lately with Auburn. I'll put it that way. In state, there's a big pull there. Maybe that's Alabama, but Auburn's definitely in the mix, and I think he's starting to build a good relationship with Rock Bellantoni. So I'm kind of with you on percentage right now, lower, but let Auburn have a good season. Let those things keep building. I'm not ruling it out at all.
I'm right there with you.
Because Auburn wants that. I mean, they're pushing for that to happen. They're telling them how dynamic they can be together, right? That's the plan, I think.
And you've got Hezekiah Harris, who I think it might be still be a 5-star on somebody, 24/7 or Rivals 1. But
yeah, maybe Rivals.
But remember, I don't know if I said it on the show, but one of the coaches, was like, man, programs need good problems.
No, I agree. And I think another problem you add to that mix when you start talking about those kind of guys, Nolan Wilson is another one that has to factor into that conversation.
Is he an edge?
He's probably more of a 5.
I think he's more of a 5, but he's one you may have to sell as an edge, as a combo guy.
Yeah,
Similar to how you brought in Jared Smith last year, right? Like you told him Buck with the potential to play 5-10.
Right.
That's it. He's just like Jared Smith as far as that goes. Like, could play both, probably ends up with a hand on the ground, which we've already seen Jared Smith is doing that. So that's probably the pitch.
Dr. Malk, after getting a feel for how recruiting is going this cycle after this weekend, and this was the first weekend, January was so busy. Big Cat was kind of meh. This was the first big weekend where we kind of got like really good reads on some kids, on some top targets. So that's fair to say, Dr. Malk. Malk or Malk? I don't know. You have to tell me. Where do you see Malk?
That's what I say, but that doesn't mean it's right.
Well, it's like chalk with an M.
Could be that.
But it's also Mal with a K.
I say make it your own.
He'll let
make it your own.
I'm going to say Dr. Malk. Oh, Malk Gobert. Where do you see our 2026 class finishing? Top 5, top 10, outside top 10? Is it too early? Because don't we want to see what happens on the field? Isn't this a question? Like, how about this? Auburn goes 8-4, which is what the average is right now. All right. If Auburn does 8-4, 7, we'll say 7, 8, and 9. Is there any big of a difference if you finish with any 3 of those win totals? Is 7 a top 15? Is 8 a top 10? Is 9 a top 5?
9's not a top 5, but I think you definitely get one more impact player because you would have beaten somebody and
6
probably,
to 8.
Yeah, probably at home that you shouldn't have, right? It kind of goes into the old. Do you remember when Pat died? He's giving his famous interview, right? And they asked Pat, like, what does it take to be successful at Auburn? And he sits there and he gives that look and he goes, you got to win the ones you're supposed to and win a few of them that you ain't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That would mean you won a few of them that you weren't supposed to win. And I think that would be huge for Hugh Freeze and what you were trying to build towards, specifically creating some momentum in this class.
What was the other one he had? How do you beat Alabama? Or how long will it take to beat Alabama? He said 60 minutes.
I thought you was going to say hindsight's 2020.
Oh, dude, that's my fave.
Or 50-50. What was it?
It's 50-50. That's my fave.
You know, Paul, hindsight's 50-50. R.I.P. Coach D. All right, here's how I see it. Here's one idea, Dr. Malk. 7 wins. You go 7-5. I think you're looking at 10-12.
Yeah, I go 10-15. Expand the range because I think it gets a little.
I think with 8 wins, you're looking at number 8 to number 10.
Yeah,
and I think with 9 wins, you're looking at number 6 to number 8.
Fair. I think that's a good breakdown, Jeffrey. I do.
I think so. If you get 7 wins, right, I think you do grab one that maybe people aren't expecting you to, or at least a toss-up game. And we saw what Texas A&M did for you a year ago.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, listen, you know how loud it's going to be if Auburn wins 6 or 7 games. That can't happen. I look at this question as it's understood when I answer this question what I think Auburn's going to do on the field. I think Auburn's going to have a top 10 class, meaning I think Auburn's going to do what it needs to do on the field. That's kind of where that's where I'm at. Yeah, 7 to 8 wins. I think they grab one they're not supposed to, or at least a toss-up game, and it matters in recruiting.
The problem with the early signing day, Alan, is that you don't get to see if Auburn finishes 7-5 in the regular season. That's what you're signing on.
Yes.
You're signing on a 7-win team, even if Auburn goes to the Birmingham Bowl and beats the shit out of somebody.
Correct.
And finishes 8-5, you still signed a 7. You know what I mean?
I think what 8-5 buys you, it doesn't necessarily get you a mark in recruiting at this point, right?
Right.
But what it does buy you is goodwill with the fan base and momentum moving into the next recruiting class. But as far as, and you're absolutely right, Jeffrey, that recruiting, the calendar is so pushed up now that whereas when you used to be able to go to a bowl game and you would get those good vibes coming out of that. Do you remember when the February signing day?
Mm-hmm.
The day every male that was over the age of 18 either didn't go to college or you called in sick from work.
Yeah.
Like everybody stayed home on National Signing Day, right?
I 100% did.
Absolutely. I mean, I still play hooky. I hope nobody's from the Coast Guard's watching right now, but
well, you're working. You're doing volunteer work.
I'm doing volunteer work. That's right. I'm working in air quotes. But yeah, dude, it is a different beast now. Now, NIL obviously can make a head turn for you where you don't necessarily have to have that in-home visit like you used to. So that part of it's different as well. But 7-5, I think things get a little squirrely because if you go 7-5 to me this year, you probably won one you shouldn't have, and you also lost one you shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm.
If you go 8-4, that means you probably won one you shouldn't have, and you didn't lose any you shouldn't.
Right. You won the ones you were supposed to, and maybe one that you weren't.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Cole.
The problem with 7-5 it is exactly what you said. That means you lost because, I mean, we're pretty close to thinking Auburn matches up with everybody.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
On paper.
Yeah, because, I mean, you go back to all the games and go, well, they matched up for a little while. It's not like they were just completely outmanned just a year ago. And you got, what was it, Jeffrey, 45 new guys coming in?
45.
Where we think pretty much upgrades everywhere, at least talent-wise.
Sure.
So that's when you get into that talk, that's where it gets really scary, and you're like, that means they probably lost to somebody they matched up with. You're getting to the point where you can't do that anymore, and it is going to affect recruiting, not just the fan base.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Let's see, LA Whip. This is good. This is one of the topics we were going to discuss at the end of the show. So I'm glad we went to the questions for LA Whip. If you had to pick today, folks, like I'm saying, tomorrow is signing day. If you had to pick today, who does Shadarius Tootle sign with? And the reason this question is interesting, folks, for maybe that's people that aren't familiar, Shadarius Tootle is a 4-star linebacker from Mobile. He's been committed to Auburn, I think, for almost a year now. He took an official visit to Georgia this past weekend and left saying that Georgia is his number one school or might be his number one school, or basically he's committed to Auburn, but Georgia's number one. Steve Wiltfong, On3's national director of high school recruiting and transfer portal, put in a prediction for Tootle to flip to Georgia. And so there's a lot of buzz right now with Shadarius Tootle in Georgia. So LA Whip wants to know if you had to pick today. Now, hold on. I don't want to hypothetical this.
I know I have 2 answers.
Okay.
To what you're saying. So if signing day is tomorrow,
mm-hmm.
I have 2 different answers too, I think.
Yes. You'll understand I'm picking Georgia if signing day is tomorrow.
I got one answer, but go ahead and I'll explain mine. Go ahead.
If signing day is what it is, December 20th, I'm picking Auburn. That's where I'm at with this.
For me, if signing day is tomorrow, I'm still picking Auburn because I believe Hugh Freeze would have one conversation where it is all laid out there. And they are so aware of the optics within that building that I think that they would do what is necessary to make sure that Shadarius Tootle signed with Auburn. There was a time when Joe Phillips was Georgia until he wasn't. There was a time that Eric Winters was Georgia until he wasn't.
Yeah.
And so I think that Shadarius Tootle will fall along with that. Now, I do believe Auburn needs to step their game up some. They need to get live in that recruitment.
The hypothetical wasn't fair, and I'm like you, Cole. Who do I think leads right now? I think Georgia leads, but it's not fair because he hasn't taken an official visit to Auburn yet,
and he's going to.
So right, and so Cole, if signing day is July the 1st, does that change your first answer?
Meaning after his Auburn official,
right?
Yeah,
I think it does mine too.
Let me just ask y'all this about this situation, and I'm gonna try to go a little more in depth on it in a piece. Probably by the time you're watching this, but does it feel like Auburn can make, like, kind of like you're saying, Alan? I think you pointed to it a little bit. Does it feel like Auburn can make one phone call and get this done?
I think so. Like it does to me. It feels like you can get right in a phone call if you make it right.
In other words, it's not out of Auburn's hands. I feel like it is in Auburn's hands. So we will
Auburn still has cards to play.
Yes,
we will find out how much Auburn values him.
Very
Just
good.
like we did with Eric Winters and Joe Phillips. There is a chance that they might say, well, we got other backers on the board. This is business. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings. I'm talking through the possibilities here.
Of course.
They didn't think that at all with Joe Phillips and Eric Winters. They said, we have to have those guys. George is pushing. We're going to end that. We're closing that door today. Now, I feel like Auburn can do the very same thing with Shadarius Tootle, and we will find out if that is the case.
If they want to, right? Now that's
right.
That's the big piece of this.
And listen, just to be clear, for all the people listening, do y'all have any notion that Auburn wouldn't, like? I as far as I know, Auburn wants this kid.
Yes, absolutely. Like I don't have any inkling that they don't want him. Right.
I have one. So his commitment happened really fast.
Right.
And if you remember, I think I said this like a year ago on a show. Any commitment that happens out of the blue, and we've been hearing about it. Don't get me wrong. But I was always weary of putting in a prediction for him because I was like, I don't exactly know if it's like, if this is something that both parties are going to agree on yet when it was happening at Big Cat last year. So that is the only holdup I have now. It's been a long time since then, and a lot has probably changed.
Wow, I put one in June. That's very unlike me. Was he one of my on three? No, he wasn't.
When was mine, Jeffrey? Was it right before Big Cat, like in July or June?
Yep. Chad was June 22nd. You were the 23rd, and I think he committed on the 27th. So y'all did it the week of Big Cat, leading into Big Cat.
I remember holding it. I held it for a while, even though the buzz was all Auburn, and we heard that he was loving Auburn. I was just was
Aldridge still here?
Yes.
As the linebackers coach, or was Durkin in yet?
Durkin was in.
Yeah, he was the outside linebackers coach, like what Rock is.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Good stuff, Dr. Mal.
That's the only holdup I have. That doesn't mean anything towards now, really. It's just something I'm looking at when I'm looking at the full picture here. Is that still the case? Is that is Auburn hesitant to take him at that time? I really don't know. For some reason, that's all I remember. I was hesitant to put that pick in.
And let's don't forget Hugh Freeze's head-to-head against Kirby Smart and for in-state recruits, for Alabama recruits, is pretty freaking good. Is he undefeated?
I mean, it's
at least 2-0.
Winters and Phillips, right? Those are the two.
Those are
at least.
Because I don't believe that Georgia wasn't involved with Jared Smith. I don't remember him being in on that one. Maybe a little bit with JJ Falk, but I don't.
New Boy
some. I think New Boy visited them, but
it feels like there's one more we're missing, but I don't. It was too late for Cobb, right? I know Cobb got some Georgia interest at the end.
Oh, DeMarcus Riddick.
Oh, for sure.
DeMarcus Riddick. So make that
he was committed to Georgia.
3
Riddick, yeah.
And 0.
Yeah, he's undefeated.
Yes.
And those are head-to-heads. We're not counting all the others that Georgia got a visit from, and just so don't lose track of Hugh Freeze's in-state record head-to-head against Kirby. Now, Kirby's is probably just as good for Georgia guys, which gives us concern for guys like Caden Prothrow.
Exactly. That's exactly why I have pause for concern, because what is Hugh's record in going into Georgia? Now, I'm not talking about competing against Clemson or competing against
Right.
Florida.
Or Tennessee. Yeah.
Exactly. Head to head against Georgia, I cannot put my finger on one where Freeze has been able to beat him in that state head up. And to me, that is the moment that Hugh Freeze will have arrived in recruiting at Auburn, when you can go get a Derek Brown.
Yeah. Right.
When you can go get an Owen Papo that they absolutely wanted, regardless of what Owen turned out to be in college or not.
Sure.
That was
recruiting win.
That was a staple win right there.
Very good points. Let's see. Barner Becca 98 using Jay Lee's bald head. I almost said something. Using my bald head as the crystal ball. When do y'all predict we get our next commitment?
I think it's going to happen soon.
I'm going to go first week of June. Give me Travis Burgess.
Okay, I like that.
I'm leaning towards Dalton Toothman.
Okay, I think that's a great pick.
Is Toothman going to take his visits, though? That's the only thing that keeps me from like Toothman.
I think he is.
I like the Travis Burgess OV May the 30th and making a commitment the next week.
That's kind of my thought, right? Is that if they're going to close that one, they close it right then and there. We don't do the whole North Carolina State thing.
Right.
They get it done, and they start moving forward with everything.
Assuming they want to get it done.
Correct. Now maybe they bring in both quarterbacks, and I'm completely wrong. And Duckworth and Burgess are both there.
No way.
You're watching Jesse Stone, and
you take him, I'll go over here.
Exactly, divide and conquer.
I think I think both of those guys are most likely to be next. I think those are great picks. And I think that first week of June sounds like a good timeline.
That's probably there's going to be a lot popping off at that time.
Yeah.
In June, end of June.
It could be the end of June. It really could. It could be the first week of July. These kids are getting paid to take these visits, and there's incentive for them not to commit until the end of the summer. Now, the end of the summer is going to be crazy. It's going to be the first. It's going to be commitment season 1.0. Then it's going to be flip season.
Yes.
Then it's going to be, signing season, late flip season number 2.
Here, to go off of that, is there anybody that you think Auburn can get to not take their official visits? Is there anybody? Because they're pretty much – I mean, this past weekend was like everybody's first official visit. Everybody was at Auburn. That was their first one for the most part. This next one, May 30th, it's going to be similar. I mean, maybe they've taken one or two, but they're going to be – it's an early visit weekend for these guys. I'm looking at Jacquez Wilkes right now.
Oh, yeah. He's a good one. He would be on my potential guys.
Well, you know how Durkin's going to attack that one when he's on his OV.
Yeah.
You know how they're going to feel about that one.
Is he May 30th or is he June?
Yeah, he's 30th. And then he's got Alabama June 6th. He's got Texas A&M June 14th and Miami.
He'll take those. I bet he'll take those.
I think Burgess is the only one, in my opinion. Like, if you sold out and said you are
that they have the leverage.
Yes, because I think you can make that NIL deal advantageous enough not to take the visit, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm keeping a close eye on Balagoon Ali. I don't know if he's ready, but
absolutely, he's another one.
I feel like that kid's going to take visits. But I did find his quote interesting. Whose story was it that you guys put up that said
Chad?
Was it Chad story? Excellent work by Chad.
Yes.
But when you saw that quote of, if I were ready to commit, DJ Durkin said he would stop recruiting other players at my position.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he wants one dime.
That tells you where, A, he sits on the board. And I'm not going to say 2. I'm going to say B this time, guys, just so that I stay in order here. Carter, I'm doing it for you, okay? But B, that you're right. They're only taking one, Jeffrey.
Well,
you're only taking one dime in this class. As far as –
tell you what. Makes me feel better about our intel, Jeffrey, because we both felt that he was probably the top guy there, right?
Yeah. And good. Let her read some leaves. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Pays to be at the complex, guys.
Don't it?
It's hard, because you get intel and you want to put it out there, and you go, "Am I going to hurt myself doing this? Am I about to put my reputation on the line if this doesn't work?" It's something as small as that. I want to be right,
Yeah.
We both felt that way. We've heard. Went Balagoon Ali. This guy kind of came out of nowhere, but I'm telling you, they love him.
That linebacker position.
I feel good about that.
You get him, you get Goon, and now you're looking at how many they're going to take for that middle, that wheel.
The wheel, the mic, right?
Where does Tootle fit? Where does Wilkes fit? Do you get those two and shut it down? Do you want more? Something we'll have to figure out. And this is kind of goes into my next question. War Eagle -24. How confident are you that Auburn signs each of the recruits who OV'd last weekend? Also, when is J. Lee going to get the hot board going again? July the 1st, Big Dog, is my hot board. That's going to be end of official visit season, right before commitment season. It's going to give us an idea of who these top targets are, and have them all have visited campus. A lot of them, at least. So that's my target date for the hot boards. So, as far as confidence in each of the recruits that visited this weekend, I'm going to pull up the list, fellas.
Why don't you just roll down the list? We give a confidence level where we're at right now. You want to do that?
Okay.
Where the hell's? Yeah. All right. We'll start with Tank Jones and Trenton Henderson.
Ooh.
Confidence level. So if y'all are doing a hot board, what's your percentage? Auburn versus the field.
Give me 40% on Tank Jones.
I'll do 50. I said 55. I'm gonna back it up 5, but I'll go 50.
Man, yeah, I think I'm 50-50. No, I tell you what, I'm going to do 45 on Tank, and here's why. I think Auburn's got some ground to make up with him in that rock. Not so much with Trenton, but I think the relationship with Tank is still growing.
I agree, and that was what I'm saying. I'm going to go to 45 on Trenton Henderson, and give me 40 on Tank, and I could easily get to 50 on Trenton, in my opinion.
I'm going to go 40 on Trenton Henderson.
Okay.
And the reason is because USC is a real threat. And they get the last official visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't like the USC visit. So I'm going to – what did I say I was on Tank? 40, 45, something like that. See, I'm a little bit more sure on Trenton. I'm at 50 on him. I'm at 50 on Trenton Henderson.
If I'm Rock Bellantoni, I'm asking Trenton Henderson to take a crash course in income tax.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, unfortunately, Alan, that's one of those things you don't know till you know.
That's right. How about BPW, Bryce Perry Wright? Anybody over 30%?
No.
25, 30.
Derek Cooper, same.
I might even be, I was going to say I might be less. I might be 20.
How about these guys? Ernest Rankins, Vodney Cleveland.
45 on Ernest, 55 on Vodney.
Oh, Auburn's taking the lead.
I will agree.
He said it.
I would
What did he say?
With
gunning for the number 1 spot.
Yeah.
I'll go 55 on Vodney. I agree. Ernest, I don't know enough to really give you a percentage.
Well, here's the thing about Ernest. I did some checking. This was before his official visit. And it's Auburn, Georgia.
Yeah. Well, he told us, Jeffrey, when he was at junior day, his top 3, he went as far to say, this is my top 3, Auburn, Alabama, Georgia. He gives us this time his official visit list. Alabama's not included. Process of elimination says Auburn and Georgia are the 2.
And just like we talked about Hughes' record against Kirby for Georgia guys, I'm going to go 45 on Ernest Rankins. I'm going to go 50 on Vodney. I think it's a coin flip right now. But okay. Listen, I wouldn't. I'm not arguing with Cole at all. He absolutely might have Auburn number 1. Auburn might be the team to be. I just know they were number 4 going into the weekend. Did they shoot all the way up to number 1?
Well,
maybe.
I mean, I'm also, again, without having to explain the whole thing, I'm looking toward the end of the season here and where Auburn's going to be and how that matters, right?
Okay, so you're looking at. Okay, I got you. I'm doing it a little bit different. I'm doing current, but I hear what you're saying.
No, you're doing. I think Cole and I both are doing a long-term projection here, whereas you are like right
Where I
here
see it
in the
right now.
moment. Yeah,
Yeah.
50-50. And who
Well,
would you say is probably the biggest competition?
So
Florida.
yeah, so I'm gonna go up and down on my hot ball percentages, and then at the end, I hear what you're saying. All right.
I'll
Yeah.
just be honest. The reason I'm doing that too is because I've changed my RPM strategy a little bit. Whereas going back and looking at last year, probably didn't need to put one in for Nate Marshall,
Right.
because of what can happen with a recruit like that at the end. The ones I'm putting in for are the ones I really, really see these guys signing with Auburn.
Yeah. Yeah. I like to, and listen, if I were to do a mock class, which I wouldn't because I don't have enough information on all the positions, but I think I would have Vodney Cleveland in mind. So
Yep.
Yeah.
long-term play here, I'm with Cole here and Allen for that matter. Jay Lamar.
40. I think maybe 25, 30 before the OV, but 40 after.
35.
Pick one. 35, 40 sounds good to me. I don't think he ends up at Auburn. I don't think Auburn's in the lead. I don't think.
No.
No, I don't either. But I do think they made a strong pitch.
Yeah, they probably went from 15 to 35. Well, they probably more than doubled their chances with the visit. It's just still not enough to, in my opinion, to get him. CJ Hester was an interesting one. This is a guy not a lot of people know much about his recruitment. We kind of got a lot 2 or 3 minute interview with him.
Yeah,
He said all the right things.
A little rushed with him, but
yeah. But I mean, does anybody have him over 30?
I just don't know enough to have him over 30,
yeah,
right?
I hear you.
I'd go at least 35 or 40 because I do think it's Auburn and Florida there.
Okay. And now listen, this is the one I like, Brody Jennings.
Yeah, that's interesting.
He's committed to Michigan. Said he had the best interview of anybody that I talked to Sunday. I would say 55 on Brody
Wow.
Jennings. And here's why. I don't know how hard Michigan is pushing for him to keep him.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not as worried about Michigan as I am about the other Florida schools that are also in the mix, because for all the reasons that I love what he had to say about Auburn, some of those schools are even closer in proximity. And how are they going to pitch him? Because I think he's got OVs set to both Florida and Miami, if I remember correctly. And I'm going to be a little bit more reserved, but I did love what he said. I'm going to go 40%, but he might be the highest cornerback on my board right now from a percentage standpoint.
He's got Miami next weekend, Florida the next weekend, Georgia the next weekend, finishing out with Michigan. Boy, I tell you what, that's going to be tough.
It is going to be tough. It's going to be tough. But again, I know less than nothing about the cornerback board right now. That is the most. That's if you're talking about positions with ambiguity, that's the one, in my opinion. The safety board, I think we know.
Yeah.
The question to me is, do you put enough NIL reserves into landing both Womack
and Jira Edwards
and Jira? And I think you probably walk away with one of those because of what it would take to get one.
How about Goon? Where are y'all at with Goon?
55 right now.
Yeah, I may even go 60.
I think I will too. I will too.
Go 60. Yeah.
Goon, and then you've got Deron Parks, old Doodles.
I'll go 60 there.
Yeah, I was going to say 60 again for him. Of the three that came out that weekend, the three I heard the most about or that I got feedback on were Goon, Toothman, and Parks. And I think all three of those land in Auburn's class as of today.
Keep it rolling.
I'll say 60 with Parks, but I'm not ready to call that one yet. Like, I can't put in an RPM on that yet because
Ohio State scares me there.
I agree.
I'm at 55 on Deron. I'll do 60 on Toothman and 10 on Dominic Harris.
Yeah, 70 maybe on Toothman for me, and then 10 or 5 on Dominic Harris. Yeah.
Though I tell you what, listening to Toothman's interview, he didn't say a lot of the things that I thought he might say. He didn't tip his hand much with that interview. But seeing him and watching him, and he loves Auburn. Look,
perfect fit, right?
Yeah, he is. And Jake Thornton loves this kid. And I Jake didn't tell me that. I can just look at Dalton and his father and see how they talk about Jake and how Jake talks to them about.
Mm-hmm.
He's and Cole has said this many times over, he's very high on Auburn's board.
Mm-hmm.
So there's y'all a quick rundown. I mean, I tell you what, I like those questions because it touched on a lot of the topics that we were going to touch on had they not been asked. But while I'm on this visit page and while I'm sharing, am I still sharing?
No.
Okay. Here, let me share real quick because I'm gonna show the what we've got for next weekend.
Okay.
For next weekend, May the 30th, guys, not Memorial Day weekend. Nobody's going to come in this weekend. As a matter of fact, Memorial Day this weekend had a story on Auburn Live on 3 today. All the 5 transfers and the 5 high school signees that didn't report in the spring, they're all moving in this weekend. So 45, when it's all said and done, 45 new additions from with this 2025 class to the roster. So Ashton Daniels is coming in, James Ash, Caleb Wheatland, Jay Hardy. Who else was it?
Rayshon Pleasant.
There you go. And then you got Derek and Eric Smith, Kale Ellis, Jacoby Ward,
the running back out of Auburn High School,
and Omar Mabson.
Yep.
So all 10 of those guys are reporting to campus this weekend, which will give Auburn 45 new additions from this 2025 class. Looking ahead to the next weekend, May the 30th. Real quick, just a quick rundown. Jaira Edwards, as of now, Landon Duckworth is scheduled to come in. TJ White, the 4-star linebacker from Mississippi. Jacquez Wilkes, the 4-star linebacker from Whiteley, Alabama. Jamarion Matthews, an Alabama commitment. Hezekiah Harris, Xavier McDonald, Braden Fogel. We'll see if he makes that visit. Anthony Davis, Jamichael Garrett will be an interesting one, an Auburn commitment. An Oregon commitment, Xavier Larice is coming up. Wilson Zier.
Yeah,
picking up some steam.
Monster. That's become a monster one because Georgia has decided it really likes Wilson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have seen something in the last couple of weeks. Travis Burgess. We're going to, right, like I said, Landon Duckworth right now. Travis Burgess is locked in for that weekend. Dooley, Parker Pritchett coming in. Landon Myrie.
Yeah.
Braylon Edwards. We'll see if he comes in. He's an SMU commitment. Rhett. What's it called?
The Red Vet. Yeah.
He's got a great program over there right now.
Yeah. Hey, I'm telling you what, Rhett's. If he wasn't from the Gus Malzahn tree, he would be on my list that I'd keep over here of potential future coaches. Could you ever go to Rhett?
Yes.
Okay.
I think enough time has passed at this point, and Rhett is very different in the way that he conducts himself by comparison to Gus. While it is a similar offense, he's made some interesting tweaks to it, and I think you could sell Rhett at Auburn. My guess is if Hugh doesn't work, though, you tend to go polar opposites.
Yeah.
And you're probably looking at a defensive guy next time around, if I had to guess.
Well, what I've learned in a very short coaching career and just observing one all my life, just because you come from someone's coaching tree does not mean you agree with that style.
That's
in
true.
fact, it can be the reason you choose your style. Like, I don't want to be like that. I've seen it happen.
Let's see. A couple more talking points before we go. Zion Ely this past weekend put out his official visit pictures. He made an incognito visit to Auburn the week prior, last weekend. Does that move the needle for any of you? Either of you?
Not yet.
Okay.
It got my attention because it went from Auburn is not in communication with this person, he's not visiting, to he visited. And I think it would have said more with me had it stayed quiet. I'm going to be
if he wasn't the one that put it out.
Correct.
Because he's the one who disclosed the visit.
Yes. With him disclosing the visit, I don't know why, but it changes the calculus for me some. And makes me think that Maryland's okay with him putting that out. And if Maryland's okay with him putting that out, that means they feel like, you know what, we're still financially okay in this recruitment.
Cole, your needle get moved?
Well, I was watching Josh Newberg's show, and this wise guy named Jeffrey Lee was on there. Made a fantastic point, I thought. Just great. If you're an Auburn fan and this is flipped, you're freaking out, right?
If he's committed to Auburn and he makes an incognito visit to Maryland or Florida or wherever else,
Yeah, you're not feeling good at all.
No.
you're freaking out.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good enough for me. I feel like it moves the needle.
I hear you.
You think he was wearing like the Bobby Valentine, disguise when we snuck back in the dugout that time?
And nobody listening to the show old enough to remember that shit.
Hey, me and you are old enough. Okay, let's put it like that.
Listen, at the end of the day,
Put the banana nose on.
I'm sorry that I don't know that reference. I
Oh,
can't.
you're going to
I'll
look up
contribute.
Bobby Valentine.
Yeah.
The Mets manager gets tossed out of the game, right? He goes underneath and puts on like some glasses and like a disguise and comes back in the dugout.
Yeah, look up Bobby Valentine disguise. It's like the banana nose with glasses. You know what I mean? And he sneaks back into the dugout.
That's awesome. You know what? I may have actually seen that. I didn't know the name.
Bobby Valentine disguise. Since I can share. Oh, that's legit.
Yeah.
Oh, that was like a real deal.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
I thought he had well, it just knocked me out. Forget it. Y'all go look it up. Last thing for me I wanted to touch on was Iheanacho, the 5-star offensive tackle from Maryland. Speaking of the top 2 players in Maryland, has confirmed to me, it was already out there, but I finally got it confirmed that he is visiting Auburn June the 20th, I believe. And he told me that he's only visiting 4 schools. So it leads you to believe that Auburn. Now, I think everybody that knows anything about this recruitment has got him pegged to Oregon. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm listening to you.
Yeah, it's like when I was telling Jessica about my new hunting land. Hey, you listening to me? Let's see. No, I'm sorry. June the 6th. June the 6th. So you're talking about what? 2 weeks? 2 weeks he'll be here. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 2 weeks. It's June the 6th. Because
2 weeks from now, we'll be talking about him coming in this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. 3 weekends.
Right. Yeah. There you go. So does that move the needle for either of you? By the way, his other visits are Oregon, LSU, Penn State. Quote, those are the only visits I'm taking. Those are the only ones.
It moves the needle for me, and only for this reason. He dropped Alabama to come to Auburn.
Yeah.
No,
to me, that's a little bit of a statement. Do I think that Auburn is squarely in the mix for him just yet? No, I don't. I still think it's probably going to be LSU and Oregon in the end. Those will probably be the 2 schools that it comes down to. But let's see what he says post-visit. To me, that the context of the visit and then some of what he has to say and then how we flesh out the intel from that's going to drive more of my thought. But it does have my attention that he chose to drop Alabama to come to Auburn. He is from Maryland. Auburn has had a lot of success as of late in the state of Maryland. So there's some comfort level there with some of the prospects that are on campus. Give me 35% intrigue.
Okay. Up from what? Finding out he was
10%.
I hear you. Are you as high as 35 with him coming in, Cole?
No.
I'm not either.
I'm probably still at 10 or 15.
I'm at 20.
My reasoning though is, I said it the other night too, is I really think that Auburn knows it's got something on this offensive line class. You get Wilson Zierer, you get Dalton. Dalton Toothman, Deron Parks, Claude Puma. Just those 4, and I think they could go even deeper than that. But you could
probably afford all 4 of those for the price of Iheanacho.
I would think so.
Well, take the money out of it, just the attention.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah, time spent.
Do you really want? Do you really want to? I mean, if you really don't think he's going to Auburn, or the price tag is out of the range you are willing to go, do you want to spend that time on that? I mean, I wouldn't. That's just me, and that's why I'm not in the business.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, so this is my only counterpoint to that, Cole. how much do you want to take out of the pocketbook of somebody else? Like, how much do you want to make them sweat?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I do think that there is some game within the game, right?
Yeah, you're right.
In that, you know what, we're going to make this other team sweat a little bit. We're going to make them think that we're all in here, whether we are or we aren't. We know what our game plan is.
Well, listen, you're. I don't think anybody from Oregon watched the show. You're in a lot of recruiting battles with Oregon, if you think about it.
Sure.
You are.
You're going to be moving forward because they're going for the best. Doesn't matter where they're from.
Right.
Maybe you can get them to overpay on this one, and then
That's kind of what I'm getting at, right?
Another little domino falls here. You know.
All right. Well, think about the state of Maryland, Auburn, Oregon recruiting battles. Jira Edwards, same state, right? If you can get them to overpay on Iheanacho, does that give you a little bit more wiggle room with Jira? Who, in my opinion, because of all the prospects you just listed on the offensive line, I can tell you one other off the top of my head that go in that safety class that Auburn really, really wants, and that's Brendan Womack. And you want to come home with one of the two of those. If you can increase your percentages of coming home with one of those two, you would play that game all day, every day. And I'm not saying that's what Auburn's doing here. My guess is they like the kid straight up. But I do believe there's a little bit of gamesmanship where you're trying to stick it to your opponent some and make them sweat just a little bit and overpay some.
You're absolutely right. And you may have swayed me. Because what I'm saying lacks gamesmanship. And I can't preach about gamesmanship if I'm going to lack it. You know what I mean?
I like it, Cole.
Game recognized game. You know,
that's right, baby.
You got me on that one, Alan. That's pretty good.
Hey, I'm working to keep you honest there, Cole. I'm also working on a nickname for Dalton Toothman, man. I've gone through like 5 different ones. It's Dalton the Frankel Toothman.
Dalton the dentist.
Dalton the dentist Toothman. I was thinking Dalton the orthodontist. You know, I mean, I've tried a couple on here. We'll stick with Donald. We'll stick with Dalton the dentist Toothman. I like that.
The dentist.
Let's see if we can't make that stick.
You know how Kramer had the ass man?
Yes.
He had the tooth man.
Favorite episodes.
Yes, dude.
Tooth man.
The tooth man. I like it.
I was trying to think of something with Anchorman, Mantooth, you know.
Yeah.
Wes Mantooth.
Oh, Wes Mantooth. Dalton Mantooth.
Dorothy Mantooth is a saint.
Yes. Look, dude, if I can make stuff him in a locker work, I can make this work. Okay.
All
right. That's a fantastic round. But we want to do some how about yous. You got any?
Man, I missed a couple shows. I got a ton, but I'm gonna try to.
Oh,
Cole, you empty them out because I'm out tonight. Like I came unprepared.
I have 2.5.
I'm a rookie, so I will make up for it next show.
It's been a good time for the corner, I think. In fact, I think the corner has matured a little bit because I put up a post about breast, thigh, leg, and wing. It took 2 pages to get a response I was thinking.
Oh.
Yeah. Maturity.
Speaking of ass man.
Maturity? Just don't use that in the same sentence as Dennis Rodman and we'll be okay. All right.
Dennis Rodman is immature.
Dennis Rodman could have been involved there, but yeah, I'll roll through these real quick. Tiger Mac, Jeffrey.
Okay.
Just words of encouragement, man. You know, I'm a sucker for that. Always appreciative. So Tiger Mac. 2 guys here that did the same thing. So I put out a thread before I did my top 5 position units rankings. 2 people predicted my top 5.
Ooh.
That would be Eli Double-Ott and AU Tiger 2282.
Both good posters.
Yep, they both predicted it. Corner, quarterback, O-line, edge, receiver. Got it right. Abraham Lincoln. Absolutely got me. There was a post a little while back about the way that our counterpart, Bama Online, does their RPMs.
Yeah.
And how they criticize Jeffrey and I for the way that we do ours. And Abraham Lincoln said, just last night, I woke up in a cold sweat about this very thing. Thank you for addressing it.
Speaking of RPMs, just go back and check Derek Smith for me one more time, and let's see who put that one in first.
Oh, gosh, what a nice one that was.
And then kept it on there like a G.
It was a good day.
I've got 2.5. I've got Buddy Colt. How about you, Buddy Colt? looking for a vacation, and he wanted to go to Jackson Hole, and I was like, "Hey man, why don't you go to Yellowstone? It's a lot cheaper." And then I realized that he went to Yellowstone in January and did like a snowmobile through Yellowstone. So,
Did he really?
Yes, very
Dude, that's
cool.
awesome.
So, how about you, Buddy Colt? And how about you to Cam and Cheese? Cam and Cheese. What did he do? Oh, he brought Voice of Reason to
Yes.
the Wilt Fong bomb on Toodle. And then, oh man, Brian Watts, man. Brian Watts is he's a land man up in Tallapoosa County, and he went above and beyond his call of duty for me. And I just want to say, how about you? I appreciate you.
Nice.
Very nice, very nice. Brian Watts. So Brian Watts. There you go. Let me see. Let me see what he's with. He's with Southeastern Land Group. Brian Watts. Give him a call. Tell him I sent you. All right, man. Fantastic show. Fantastic show. Hey, public service announcement. We are not going to do the call-in show Sunday night. A lot of moving pieces for us all this holiday weekend. So no call-in show Sunday night. We're going to return the next Sunday, which will be June the 1st at 7 p.m. Central Time. So we're going to next show 7 p.m. We're going to move the start time to 7 p.m. on June the 1st. We'll all obviously I'll put out some more reminders leading up to that. But anybody listening, we will not be having the call-in show Memorial Day Sunday. So keep that in mind moving forward. With it today's, tomorrow's, yesterday's. All right. Don't forget Roback, folks. Use the promo code Auburn20 on Roback.com for a generous 20% off for all new customers. That's spelled RHOBACK.com. 20% off our performance polos, shorts, and more with the promo code Auburn20. All right, folks. That's going to do it today. Look for we will do the recruiting show next week. So we'll be back next Tuesday or Wednesday. Or should I say Wednesday or Thursday morning, the show will be out. So look for that, and then we'll be back with the call-in show on June the 1st at 7 p.m. Central Time. All right, that's going to do it, folks. We appreciate everybody listening. We appreciate everybody watching. For Alan, for Cole, for Zach in the back, who stayed in the back, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay at that left lane.